dream again. We are the emissaries from the void.
Hello, welcome back to Emissaries from the Void.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Tristan. And this week, we are getting into our first actual eldritch horror.
Yes, we've graduated from baby's first Dr. Seuss cosmic horror that Phantasm is.
Yeah.
And we have reached true cosmic horror.
Yeah. The movie is Color Out of Space, based on the short story by H.P. Lovecraft.
But with 99% less racism.
Yes, and pretty vastly different story.
Fundamentally different, in my opinion. Like, same vibes.
Yeah.
But very different in its characterization, in the fact that the original short story doesn't really care about its characters. It's really more about the color.
It's very detached.
Yes, which is Lovecraft's MO, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why cosmic horror has been so good at, like, permeating into the membrane of the zeitgeist of our society, because it's such a blank clinical slate that you can project emotions onto.
I see.
Like,
yeah,
you know, if you actually read Lovecraft's work, for the most part, it's all clinical detached. All of his protagonists are very analytical to a fault people that survive the encounters because they are not emotional, for the most part.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, we are very emotional creatures, so we can have that blank slate to project our emotions onto. And so we feel the fear, even though the text isn't actually really all that scary. Yeah. It's the horror through implication. And that's one of the reasons why I think that cosmic horror has such staying power in the cultural mindscape. But it is actually very difficult to make cosmic horror movies, because the horror through implication doesn't work as well when you can actually see a screen with something happening. It can work, but it's just a lot harder to execute on than just writing a story with vague implications.
Yeah, and this one in particular is based on a color that cannot be seen. So how can it be shown?
Exactly. Well, it's you can see it, but it's just like one of those like indescribable things.
Yeah, it's though I read most of the short story today, and it says it's not even like technically a color. The color is just like the best analogy they can come up with for it.
Yeah, it's Lovecraft's take on an alien invasion story.
Yeah.
Which is to say that it's very vague. The purpose of the color is left unexplained, and it just...
whether there's any intelligence behind it is ambiguous.
Right, because it's like that cold, uncaring, you know, one of the central premises of cosmic horror versus just existential horror is that cosmic horror focuses on the idea that the universe is not only uncaring, but is hostile, and that we are kind of living in this little bubble of safety.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the original short story before we get into the movie.
Absolutely.
So basically, it's framed as somebody's second or third hand account of the quote-unquote strange days that happened in this particular region that most people are unwilling to talk about. So basically there's these deep woods, and there's a lot of just kind of inherent strangeness about them. And there's this kind of idyllic farm near them where a meteorite crashes, and it's this strange substance that's metal, but it doesn't act like a metal, and it has strange colors that nobody can really describe. And over the course of the next 2 years, all the crops turn bad in the area. The livestock start dying off in this kind of gruesome way where they're kind of calcifying and crumbling. All of the grass and leaves turn brittle and gray, and the people living on this farm slowly lose their minds and die from this same calcifying process. And then like this whole area is about to be like flooded, turned into a lake.
Which is maintained in the movie as well.
Yeah, it's just all very condensed.
Very condensed. It's like what, like 10 pages maybe? Like I don't know. When I reread it for the podcast, it was just like on a web page. So I didn't really like...
Right, exactly.
It is my favorite Lovecraft story because I like this and Reanimator pretty much on par with each other. Because one, the overall racism of Lovecraft is toned way the hell down compared to like Dunwich Horror.
There was like one mention of the Poles and it was in passing.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing with Lovecraft is that like if he was still alive, it would be like a J.K. Rowling situation.
Right.
Where like I'd be like, I can't associate with this.
Yeah.
But he's dead.
Dead for like
and his work is in the public
almost,
domain. So it's just different.
Exactly.
And I think that one of the things that makes me appreciate the stories is because we do have more modern retellings of them that remove all of that but maintain the central ethos. And so Reanimator and Color Out of Space both have very significantly divergent movie retellings,
right,
but still maintain the central horror premise of what's going on and why it's scary and the implications, and they do a very good job. And I think that's maybe like why in hindsight I can appreciate those two as my favorite cosmic horror stories written by Lovecraft, because I have those reimagined, filtered reinterpretations to defer to. Like, for example, a Dunwich Horror movie made today would have very different things to say, and it would definitely be a lot less racist. And I think that it would help my appreciation of that story.
Now that we've established that, let's get into the movie.
Color Out of Space was made in 2019. It was directed and co-written by Richard Stanley. He's made some other movies. He made The Island of Dr. Monroe in 1996, which I actually have watched.
Moreau, right?
Moreau, yeah.
Yeah, not Monroe.
Did I say Monroe?
You said Monroe.
Okay. Moreau.
The Island of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, the Island of Marilyn Monroe. Uh-oh, all the animals died of barbiturates.
Shit. Not again.
Why does this keep happening? Anyway, I've seen that, and that's decent, like very good effects. But in summary, like, you know, he's really, this is kind of his breakout movie in terms of like how big it was. It wasn't
kickstarted, was it?
No.
Okay.
And also it is a box office bomb.
Yeah.
They only made $1 million and it was a $12 million estimated budget.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which is why they scrapped their plan. So originally, this is something that's kind of been lost to the annals of history, but the original plan was that they were going to make a series of Lovecraft films, all kind of in a shared little pseudo-connected universe. Like they were going to do Dunwich Horror, and they were going to do Call of Cthulhu and stuff like that. And they do a lot of world building in this movie to like kind of set some of that up. You know, we get like the hydrologist is from Miskatonic University.
Right.
They drive to Arkham a few hours away so that they can go to the hospital. Arkham, the city of Arkham, is trying to build the dam that is kind of the central revolving thing that has brought people all together before the color shows up, you know.
Yeah. And the grandfather that gets mentioned, you had theories that he was the explorer in Mountains of Madness.
Yes. There's some like he had like those goggles, and he had like a compass.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of it just hints to that because that's the exploratory Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
Where we go on an expedition that's funded by Miskatonic University.
Yeah, and that would have been pretty awesome to see a series of movies like that.
Too bad.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen because, you know, honestly, like, I love this movie, but I can see why people as a whole kind of slept on it.
Yeah.
Especially because, once again, the trailer doesn't really set you up for the proper expectations.
Ain't that just the way?
Yeah. And with most horror movies, I think people forgive that. Like, you know, if you watch the like trailer for like Paranormal Activity, the original one, it makes it out to be a way more intense film than the slow burn that movie is, because it's a very boring movie overall.
Okay.
And so this movie takes its time building up to the horror that's going to happen,
Yeah.
and there's a big payoff. Unlike We're All Going to the World's Fair, this movie definitely pays off on its promises, but I think people overall are just too used to horror movies that give you that quick, you know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of.
It doesn't get scary really until like halfway through the movie,
or more.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, some of this weird, scary stuff starts to happen about halfway through, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it gets wild.
Yes.
And it's all at the very end. But hey, it doesn't take 2 years like this short story. So
that's true. That's true. Yeah, the timeline in this movie is way the hell sped up.
Yeah. So like the main change, as I see it, is that they're focusing on characters, which is fundamentally different from Lovecraft's style.
Right, yeah. He didn't care about any characters ever.
Yeah. So we have this family who are like technically mentioned in the story, but it's just like some family, this guy with a weird name had 3 sons, and slowly they all went insane. In this version, he has 2 sons and a daughter. Is she the oldest or the middle?
She's the middle.
Middle. Okay. She is the one that I would call the main character. Like, she and Nicolas Cage, her father, are what I would call the 2 main characters.
Not the hydrologist?
No, because he's kind of like the neutral third party who observes all of it, and he bookends the movie by narrating, but he doesn't really have much of an arc to his story aside from discovering this weird fucked up stuff.
I can see what you're saying. I would say that it's a shared story between Lavinia, who's the daughter,
okay,
and Ward, the hydrologist, because I think that their 2 perspectives are what kind of bridge together to make the whole of what the story is trying to say.
Okay.
And the relationship between Lavinia and Ward, as superficial as it is, that is the kind of like a driving force that motivates Ward to engage with the plot. And he is the final boy. So at the end of the things, spoiler, but like at the end of things, because he's that, I would say that he is definitely one of the main characters, in my opinion, because if not the protagonist, at least the primary perspective character that we experience the end of the movie with.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, he's an antagonist in this, in my opinion, like straight up. Even before things start going awry, his method of parenting is very dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And he's got perspectives about things, and he's very unmoving in this perspective about things. And it's just one of those things where like the color tends to like draw out the worst part of you.
Yeah.
So when we see them all at the end gathered in the living room, from how he wants to see it, that's like what he wants. He wants to just have this nuclear family that just kind of comes to heel, and and he doesn't really care about the desires of his children in outside of their capacity in supporting that nuclear family.
Yeah. Okay.
But before we get any further,
yes,
Tristan,
I forgot.
What is this movie about?
What is this movie about, other than a weird color that we saw? And
it's just a color, but it burns.
Yeah, exactly. And it fucks some alpacas up.
It does fuck some alpacas up. Yes, it does. These are alpacas. They're the animal of the future, Tristan. You're going to give them more respect than that.
I'm sorry. Now, I've thought a lot about this movie over the weekend, and I haven't been able to like piece together the familial theme that it feels like is waiting to be pulled out of it. You said that this had some more like environmentalist themes that were kind of woven into this story.
Yes.
And that makes sense. But I'm hung up on this girl's relationship with her father, and like just the way that the movie treats those two characters makes me think that their relationship is somehow central to the theming.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll draw that out of you as we talk about it.
I think this is the most non-answer I've ever given.
That's fine.
But
we can start with then, I guess, my interpretation. And then through that discussion, perhaps we'll draw out your interpretation as it marinates in my head as well.
Okay.
I took a very environmentalist message from this because of the focus on water and contamination in the water, and the contamination in the water being how the color spreads through the ground, and like the idea of an invasive species and the idea of water contamination are very front and center, right? So like those weird flowers that start showing up, and then there's that weird little mantis that hatches, and then there's like the food grows really abundantly and really early, but then it tastes awful, which is like a real call to the fact that like all of our foods that are being bioengineered, they're losing their essential flavors and qualities because they're being bioengineered to grow big. Like tomatoes specifically, the bigger that you make them, the less flavorful they are. Yeah. It's like a weird inverse relationship.
Less concentrated.
Well, yeah, but like tomatoes specifically, it's like a whole thing in like in the GMO sphere. There's like this problem where tomatoes get less nutritious the bigger you make them, but the impetus to make them bigger so they sell more means that the food that we're eating is losing those essential qualities that we require, and we have to take all these supplements now to like get the full essential nutrients that we need because we're no longer getting it from this food that's been corrupted. And so the scene where Nicolas Cage goes out and he's like, wow, all my food's like early,
and he's really excited because it's seems bountiful, but then he bites into it
and it's garbage. And he's like, we have one of those Nicolas Cage freakouts. I think his character's name is Nathan. So Nathan has this bountiful harvest, but it's lacking the essence of goodness. It tastes bad.
Food.
And he throws it all away, and it's wasted. And then the whole idea of water contamination. So in the town that I'm from, there was a problem where a nearby chemical factory spilled a bunch of a chemical into the water supply, and like 80% of the town's water was on well water, and it still is to this day. And there is this contaminant that is inside of the water it has like basically the same boiling point as water. It has the same density as water. And so it is ubiquitously saturated in the water supply, and you can't get it out. And now, as far as the EPA is concerned, it isn't like an environmental catastrophe. People still drink the water. I still drink the water if I go visit home. But it has a contaminant in it that might, 50 years down the line, I might get like super cancer. And they'll be like, well, it was because of this exposure that you had in your hometown. Who knows? And I really get a lot of that. So it really resonates with me on like a personal level to see a film focused on water contamination, and like everyone starts getting sick and everyone starts, like here in Colorado, where we're from. In eastern Colorado, because of all the fracking that's been going on out there are people who unironically, for real, can light their faucets on fire.
Shit.
Like there's videos of people doing it, and it's not a hoax. It's not like a joke. It's not like fake. It's because methane gets released into the groundwater, and they're all in well water, so they can light their faucets on fire, which is insane. And people will report getting sick and nauseous from drinking the methane water. Now it dissipates after a time. Like it's not a permanent poison because methane's lighter than water, so it escapes. But that environmental impact is real. It makes people sick. It makes people die.
Yeah.
And, you know, here in America, we're very privileged to have a situation where even if we have a contamination like that, we can just go get like a ready supply of bottled water or something. That is not a luxury that most of the world necessarily has.
Right.
So, you know, the pollution that we experience here in America is basically nothing compared to the pollution that like the the Eastern Asian front can get, or, you know, stuff like that, like Malaysia and, you know, like places where we like dump all of our trash, you know, India and that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they're like, water is so polluted that it's just a way of life. Like your water is going to have gross things in it. And that's just how it is. That's awful. And so when we like have this example of this thing that's killing people, mutating people, it's drawing out them to insanity. It's like it's mercury poisoning almost. It's like, okay, so the groundwater has been tainted by some kind of outside force. And then the third pillar of this environmentalist argument comes from the sense that now we have all these invasive species showing up, and they're not just, at first they're just there. But then in the course of just days, they have completely killed all the trees. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but all the trees are dead. When we get that scene where they go outside and everything is covered in the purple flowers and vines and stuff, all of the trees are dead. They are choked out by this almost like kudzu like vine that's been growing on everything. And then, you know, the color itself causing the alpacas to become fused together and turned into this horrible thing. So it's like it's this idea of an invasion by a force that is not just killing things, but corrupting them and then overtaking them. It corrupts and then it overtakes. And it makes, you know, like they have that whole thing about it's making things, it comes from a place where things aren't like how they are here, and it's making them like they are there where it's from.
Reshaping, like almost terraforming.
Right, exactly. And that's one way to like interpret, like, are these aliens trying to terraform and you know, stuff like that. But the point is that like this external force coming into what is a serene environment where they're on well water and they're, you know, they're able to drink their well water and it's fine. Like, because we get a shot of them pouring water at the start and it's crystal clear. And then throughout the rest of the movie, it starts to have this like weird shimmer in it. And
or even like kind of brown.
Well, when we get that scene, that's coffee that he brewed.
Oh, well, I guess that's fair.
Point is, like, it's some kind of like invasive chemical in the water. Making it shimmer like soap.
Okay, so that all makes sense to me. And I mean, if we're comparing it to industrial pollution, that's a force that is outside of most of our control.
Yeah.
Like, aside from, you know, making a petition or something.
Well, yeah, and then we even have that theme show up, right, of like how Arkham is trying to build this reservoir and how the mayor like snidely tells Nathan that he should have sold the farm to her because and it's like
and they're very annoyed that Ward has like found this contaminant. They're like, we don't give a shit about this. We just want to put this deal through.
Yeah, because it's already been signed and like So like the mayor representing that like political force that just kind of reinforces the horrible thing that's happening.
Yeah,
I do like the idea that there is also like a familial other theme. You know, things can have more than one theme. Let's start your journey into trying to like bring this out of yourself by you know, did Lavinia call the color?
Okay, one of the first scenes is Lavinia doing a ritual on the shore of a lake. She's calling out to some force to take her away from this place
and to cure her mother of cancer.
Right. She's praying for change, and she gets far more change than she hoped for.
Right, because like, so no longer interpreting the color as a force of pollution, but as a catalyst for transformation.
Yeah, I think change is maybe the other big theme of this movie, and like how people deal with rapid change. Nathan dealing with it probably the most poorly.
Yes, exactly.
Because of his personality.
His intellectually abusive father's voice
Yes.
that emanates from him at different points when he's going crazy.
Yes. So Lavinia does that ritual, and then later she does something from the Necronomicon.
Yes, where she literally mutilates herself with a razor.
Yeah, she like etches runes into her skin.
Yes, and we like get like really cool shots of like her blood like dropping down onto the book, and like
Yeah.
it's actually like a really interestingly like shot scene where she does this ritual, and it's to grant her protection is what she's asking for. And I guess in some ways it works.
It's from a certain alien point of view, yeah. But that's kind of the point, is
because she also wanted to escape, because like she does this ritual before she's going to get on her horse and leave with her brother.
Yeah.
To like escape, and so she's asking for protection and allowing her passage, and you know, in a very roundabout way, she does get passage to another place.
Yeah. I forget at what exact point in the movie this is, but when we see the kind of alien planet.
That's like right at the end almost.
Yeah. Like where this meteorite came from is this world of like twisting vines and
worms and tentacles, and everything kind of bleeds into everything else.
Wiggly wigglers.
Yeah.
And
some wiggly boys.
But we come to this like peak, and some of it is formed into a vague shape that it highlights as being the rune that she etched into her own forehead.
Yes, and then after that it takes her away.
Yeah,
and she like turns into like particles and is taken away, because it starts to like open up like almost like a wormhole in the sky, like pulling her away. And so, you know, in a sense, like, because that happens literally like 5 minutes after she told Ward that she's not leaving with him, because he comes back to save her.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's an incident where he's with the like local sheriff, and the sheriff shoots Nathan, Lavinia's dad. And then Lavinia's like, you shot my dad, and I'm like, I can't go with you. But then immediately afterwards, she goes anyway. She's taken away anyway. And so there's something to be said maybe about like the attachment that we have with our parents that can, you know, hold us in a place, but then eventually we go regardless of whether we wanted to or not. Like when you surrender to change, it will transform you in ways that perhaps will take you away from anything familiar or you know, comfortable for you. Change by its nature is an antithesis to comfort in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And we kind of see like a parasitic version of that with Lavinia's mom and her younger brother.
Right. Do we think that like when the wormhole sucks everything up, could we say that her family is together in that?
That's true. We do get that glimpse of them all in the living room. And like how I had said earlier, it kind of like spoke to Nathan's character of like this is what he wants more than anything else, is to just have this quiet together family around the TV. It's
And Lavinia is rebelling against that, but when it comes down to it, she chooses her family.
Yeah, exactly. She chooses to stay with her family.
As they disintegrate.
And
go to an alien dimension.
And then, you know, we can kind of see dimension. We can kind of see Teresa, which is her mom, and Jack having kind of the opposite parasitic relationship to that when they get fused together, literally incapable of separating from each other. So it's like, I don't think the genders of the parents and the children matter as much, but it does have something to say about like the different ways that parents can treat their children and like how Nathan's personality pushes Lavinia away, that she wants to flee, and then how Teresa's personality literally cannibalizes Jack's development as a person because she's kind of a helicopter parent about him.
Yeah.
And it's like hinted at in the movie. It's not like overt, but I definitely see that like mother hovering mindset that she has. Like they're sleeping in the same bed at certain points, and she's definitely coddling him in a way that maybe she didn't coddle her other two kids.
Yeah.
And that kind of reveals the opposite side of like, whereas Nathan is expelling Lavinia by his personality, Teresa is absorbing Jack by hers.
Yeah. 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 And then what's the brother's name? Bobby or Bim Bim?
Nobody says that. Benny. No one really says their names as often in this movie.
Right. Okay, so yeah, those are like the other two characters that we haven't touched on. And
and they reveal maybe like a different kind of dynamic. Like
Benny is really interested in astronomy.
Yes, space. He loves space. He's playing Universe Sandbox 2, which is kind of it was, shout out to Universe Sandbox 2. It's very fun.
Okay.
Cuz you can just, it's like a model of the galaxy, and you can like put different stars in different places, and you put Earth around other stars and see what happens. And yeah, it's a really fun little tool. And he's playing that, and it's like, he's got like a lot of space stuff on his walls. He's a stoner that likes space.
Yeah.
Like Lavinia is very interested in spiritual matters. She's a Wiccan, and she's doing spells, and she has like a lot of like occult themed stuff in her room, whereas Benny is very interested in physical matters. He's very much interested in like the here and now. And so like I think that's what like leads to the ultimate fate of both of them, is that like Lavinia does a magical ritual that causes the color to take her somewhere else, and Benny tries to go get his dog from the well and is taken by the color. So they're both destroyed by their focuses. So and it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't really matter if you're focused on spiritual pursuits or physical pursuits. Rapid transformation will come in either case. And it's a destructive transformation in this movie, but maybe in like a more open-ended sense, just change in general is going to find you regardless. It's Lavinia's desire to escape is what transforms her, and Benny's desire to maintain Sam, his dog, like a physical thing here in the here and now, is what catalyzes his transformation. And he lives in the well now, is what Nathan says at some point. Like he's not in the living room, he lives in the well now.
Which is a line from the short story.
And that's cold as fuck. Like
Nathan's dad is kind of this, like an unseen character, kind of.
Because he's dead. As of the movie's plot, but he is brought up by Nathan a lot. And it's his compass and his
out of Nathan. Like Nathan says he can hear his father's intellectually abusive
voice.
Do you have what are your thoughts on that phrase? Because that immediately reminds me of my dog is too philosophical.
I could see that. Honestly though, like when he starts channeling his dad's voice later on, I if I had to put a term to that, intellectually abusive is not that far off.
Okay.
The idea is like, okay, you can have different kinds of abuse, right? And I think the point of that line is like, the abuse was emotional through the dismissal, even in the tone of voice that was being used. Like, instead of like physically beating you, in some ways it's like, no, we're gonna like demean you. I think he just means to say demeaning, but like in an academically demeaning.
Because
his father was probably, again, it's implied that his father was
an
like
explorer and an academic.
Exactly.
It's not intellectually abusive as opposed to emotionally abusive. Like the intellect is the thing being attacked. It's more like the attack is coming from.
The abuser is using their intellect to abuse you.
Okay.
because they think that like they're talking down to you in a way that is only coming from a place of someone who thinks that they're intellectually superior.
Right.
Condescending in a very specific kind of way.
And at this point, I have to bring up that the voice that Nicolas Cage uses is Donald Trump, unfortunately.
Oh God.
And
Yeah, and I know. And once you said that, like I just started like doing that
Yeah.
like through the whole time.
he gets the wine. And I don't know if it was intentional. I hope it wasn't.
I mean, I think he just put
But
on
it
an
was-
asshole voice, and it just happens to
well.
sound like.
But it's 2019, so we were in the first Trump years.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was channeling a little bit of that energy, honestly. But also, like Nicolas Cage, when he raises the pitch of his voice, it's just kind of just sounds like Trump.
Maybe that's all it is.
Like Trump's voice is just a condescending Nicolas Cage.
I don't want to think too hard about this. But it's very funny. For better or worse.
We got
probably
we got a
worse.
few laughs out of it while we were watching this
Yeah,
movie for
yeah.
sure. I'm not gonna do it here because I
Yeah,
can't
we
bring
don't-
myself to.
We don't need to. So, yeah, the grandfather kind of has a negative presence in that way, and he has a positive presence in the like tools and items that he's left his grandchildren. Probably not left specifically to them, but they have found his compass and his like welding goggles.
They're like they're pilot goggles.
Okay.
Like
they looked black, but
They're like flight goggles, I think.
I wouldn't fly in them, but maybe they're like snow goggles.
That would make a lot of sense, especially if it was again a reference to Mountains of Madness.
Yeah.
Because they go to Antarctica in that story.
Yeah.
But regardless, Lavinia uses the compass to find east for her ritual.
Yes.
And then Benny has the goggles.
Which he
and-
uses once for
So he-
half a second.
So he can look at the color while it takes him away.
Yeah.
What do you think about that scene where he gets in the well? Like,
Yeah, he's like, I hear the dog in there. I'm going to go down there and get him. You can haul us up in the bucket. Like, no part of this plan makes any goddamn sense, but he's
a very stoner plan.
He has to. It made sense for him to be that desperate to like try to save something.
Even though we as the audience have seen Sam's corpse.
Right.
In the like, so we like because we follow Ward back to Arkham. He like leaves for a little while because see, the color is mutating everybody, and we have to take Ward away from it so that he is not as scathed.
Yeah.
So he leaves for a little while because he goes back to Arkham to warn everybody about the water, and then gets dismissed. But he's coming out of like the city hall of Arkham, and he like. The sheriff calls him over and is like, hey, look at this. And they open it up and they ask him his opinion. Like, this movie is like a bunch of characters asking this hydrologist opinions outside of his discipline.
Yes.
Because like a meteorite falls in.
You're like a science guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, because the color comes down in a meteor and they were like, hey, you're a scientist. Like, well, I'm a hydrologist. Well, take a look at this meteor. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
And then they ask him about these corpses. And one of them is Sam. And the other one is Ezra's cat, G-Spot.
Yes.
So
and
the
like
fates
a
of the
deer
pets
and a bunch of other
this movie breaks all the rules. They kill the little kid, they kill the pets.
Yeah
Like that's like one of those cardinal sins in Hollywood is that you can't kill, you're not alled to kill the dog because you'll lose the audience.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder this movie bombed. They killed the dog.
I guess so. But that's kind of part and parcel to cosmic horror. Nothing escapes.
Yeah, except for the analytical academic people.
Right.
That's like the trend in Lovecraft stories, is that the scientist usually is either the cause of the problem or they're the one who survives the problem.
Right. Because their mind is steeled against madness or something.
Yeah, they're grounded enough that they can resist the pull of the mythos.
They make their sanity saving throws.
Well, yeah, because it's like one of those things where like it's kind of effectualized in the Call of Cthulhu game, where the more you gain the skill, which is Cthulhu mythos knowledge, it lowers your sanity. So your maximum sanity gets reduced by leveling this skill.
Yeah.
So the characters who are the least open to the universe,
Yeah.
the least magically sensitive, would in turn be the ones to survive, because they are like guarded by their disbelief.
Yeah.
Which I think is very interesting. But they're always scarred. Like Ward is very, very scarred by his experiences in this movie. And
Yeah.
you know, when we get like because he's the narrator, he starts another reason why I think that he is a perspective character is because he's literally the narrator of this movie. And we open with him delivering basically verbatim lines from the, abridged verbatim lines from the intro to the short story, which are very beautiful and poignant. It's like very poetic, you know, and it's
the brooklets where no sunlight. I don't even remember, but
like he also says like this area has a lot of witch legends, and it's like, well, the color is not of this world. So it's very interesting, like the implication of larger problems, and like it's almost like this place is a nexus for that stuff. Yes. Like Lavinia does her ritual, and it calls this color from space. In my opinion, she calls it to them, even though she doesn't really know what she's doing. And then she asks for safe passage to another place, and the color obliges. Yep. I don't think the color is a malevolent thing in my personal opinion. The color is a catalytic
converter. It is.
Okay,
it
yeah.
Converts.
Well, Mothman stole my catalytic converter in Point Pleasant, Virginia. No, I mean, like, it is a catalyst for change in the sense, like, that transformation is painful. Transformation is uncomfortable. It is going to it's going to be different. Like, you know, you might survive, but it will be different.
Yeah.
And this movie kind of uses that to stand in for trauma in the form of Ward. We get that kind of imagery. The kids growing up, we get that with Lavinia and with Nathan and with Jack and Teresa, kind of. Benny doesn't really have that, because I think he's already an adult in this movie. Like, if he's not, he's like really close to being one.
Yeah.
But we get that like idea, like the characters who are most open to change are the ones that survive till the end. But then also the most stalwart character in the form of Ward is the one to actually like get through unscathed.
Yeah.
So he is transformed in a traumatic way, whereas everybody else is
the middle characters die first.
Yeah. Like, you have to kind of just choose. Are you open to the transformation, or are you going to close yourself off to it? Because the middle ground is not sufficient. I think, well, I don't remember what movie it was that we were doing a podcast for, but I remember we talked about that idea of like, you just have to commit to a side, and that you committing is what is the point. Not like, if you fence it, that's when you're going to get pulled down.
Right. Okay. We kind of derailed the grandfather discussion. Do we think that I want more from that? Like the fact that they're using his tools and that he's coming out in Nathan. I want there to be something there.
And Ward picks up the compass at the end and has it at the very end. Because it's like one of the only things to survive. Because like the color goes away and everything is white out ash.
Yeah.
And one of the only things to survive is this compass on the ground. And he picks it up and he takes it and he has it at the end. He's like looking at it at the very end when he's like looking over the now flooded place where this house used to be.
And, you know, if it's like setting up that the grandfather was in the Mountains of Madness or whatever, if it's just like that kind of world building, like Marvel setting up for us to like, oh, I know where that came from, I would believe it, but I would be disappointed.
Honestly, I would give it a benefit of the doubt here. Like maybe it was world building, but it is being used for a thematic purpose. It's not just there.
Okay.
Like the Marvel style of it is that it's just there. Like,
Right.
In the first Thor movie when we're in there and we just see the Infinity Gauntlet just chilling.
Yeah.
Like it was just there. Oh, hey, I get that reference. But whereas this is like that compass plays a pivotal role. It's a ritual material for Lavinia. It's the relic that Ward takes with him. And it's almost like, and it being a compass, like pointing you in the direction that you need to go, helping guide, it's guidance.
Yeah.
It's ancestral guidance, and how like the grandfather's negative influence on Nathan, but positive influence on his grandchildren shows that while we can fail our children, we can still pass something along down the line that does benefit who comes after.
And that is true. Like I've seen that play out in multiple families where someone has a good relationship with their grandfather, but if they talk to their parents, they're like, oh, he was like kind of a piece of shit to his kids. But
yeah, exactly. Like my mom talks about how like my grandfather used to be like a very verbally abusive person, but my relationship with him is one of nurturing and positive development.
Yeah.
He's taught me what I know about plants, and he's taught me a lot of family recipes for food, and he's been very supportive for me to talk to and to bounce ideas off of, and he is overall like one of my favorite members of my family. But my mother's experience with him was very negative. Now they are in a better place now because he has grown as a person.
Yeah.
But for the longest time he was like an angry, aggressive man, just like always mad about things. And there is something to say about that, like, but not just even that, like just the idea of like having information be passed along. Information and like we intellectually abusive voice, meaning that he's a very analytical person, so he's passed these tools of discovery and science to his grandchildren, and then that tool is passed to Ward. When he survives this whole encounter, we collect pieces of the people that we experience things with. That was Ward. Ward got it from Lavinia, who got it from her grandfather. So in a way, the legacy of Lavinia's family is still alive in Ward because he has that compass. He remembers what happened, and he knew these people, and he can remember what they stood for.
Yeah, I wonder if it's also kind of a clearer form of communication, that passing down of knowledge in that form, because Nathan is so dysfunctional with his kids, especially Lavinia. And while he's at the hospital with his wife, there are several times where he tries to call, or one tries to call the other, and all they can hear is like garbled screaming.
Right. Yeah. And in the universe, that's because the color's fucking with things.
Right.
But in what you're kind of saying, it's like they're not able to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So, but she is able to kind of connect with her grandfather through the legacy that he's left.
Yeah.
Because like the farm that they're on is like, but she also like wants to escape that legacy because she doesn't want to live on this farm.
Yeah.
They reference to how they're from the big city, whatever that is, whether that's Arkham or New York or whatever.
Right.
But they've moved out to this farm.
Well, it's got to be bigger than Arkham.
Well, Arkham's size is fluid.
With their witch stories.
Arkham is a fluid
Yeah.
city that is as big as the story needs it to be.
And also, this story is taking place in an entirely different century than the original short story.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So,
But regardless, the point is
Yeah.
that Lavinia holds onto that compass and does her rituals with it. That part of her ancestry is like an intimate part of her. But then she also wants to leave this farm and doesn't want anything to do with it, which her grandfather was apparently very proud of this piece of land that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And, Nathan has sculpted it to be his own in some ways. Like Teresa at some point says, like, your father wouldn't even recognize this farm with what you've done to it.
Yeah.
So but Lavinia still wants to leave it. So it's like she's wants some of it, but not all of it. And some of it is,
but
off-putting
also
to her.
her grandfather's legacy is leaving and exploring.
That's true. That's also very true as well. So, that yearning, that wanderlust yearning, the same thing that probably took Nathan away from this place originally and made him a disappointment to his father is the same thing that is compelling Lavinia to want to leave.
Yeah.
Huh. We've gone in a very different direction than I was expecting to go with this.
Yeah. So, the mother. She is
kind of a bitch.
Banking. She's
in
stock
finance.
trader.
Yeah, she's a stockbroker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which she's a stockbroker utilizing satellite internet, which just retire. What do you like?
Yeah. The movie kind of proves why you shouldn't try.
Right. Yeah. If you're going to be a stockbroker, you need to have a reliable internet connection.
Yeah. But she's trying to have it both ways. She left the city, but she can't leave.
Yeah, because she has cancer, and so she's like trying to do her job, but she needed to get away from the city so she could recover from cancer treatment. Basically,
okay,
is what is implied.
Is there any kind of thematic resonance there?
I mean, certainly in the sense that like she's one of those middle ground people that is simultaneously focused on getting better, but also on being a good mom and also on her career. And these mixing priorities mean it so that she doesn't survive the transformation force in this movie. Like she and Jack are two of the first characters to go.
Right.
Well, get turned into a weird parasitic monster, but effectively die.
Yes.
How do you feel about the monster that she turns into? Like,
yeah. First of all, felt like a callback to The Brood, one of Cronenberg's earliest films.
Yeah.
Very different thematically, I think, but I thought it was very effective, and I liked how uncomfortable it was, because they still wanted to take care of her. And she loses the ability to speak.
She's reduced to lapping at water like a dog.
Yes, which is very unsettling imagery.
And how they kind of forget about Jack. Like, it's all about Teresa. They're all like, they keep talking about her, and they don't really talk about Jack at all. Like,
that's kind of true.
Yeah. And like Jack's like screaming, and it's very infantile, like, because she's literally, they say like she's absorbing him.
Yeah, reabsorbing him. And I think he actually, like, the Jack face has one line before it gets killed.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what it says.
Daddy.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's this change in her, like, maybe it's kind of representative of the cancer in a way where, it's getting harder to recognize her.
Yeah, like it's the transformation force of a disease that is withering a person away until they are unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And they're just reduced to this like base subsistence of water and hunger, and they don't really have the ability to, like, the hierarchy of needs kind of thing. Like,
right.
The cancer has stripped them to the point where all they can care about is their survival.
Yeah.
And how that can erode and cannibalize the relationships in your life. Like, having cancer is a huge weight on the people around you.
Yeah.
And that you have to be taken care of, and it can cause your relationships to mutate and erode, in the sense of, like, represented very graphic and viscerally by Jack being absorbed into her, but like the idea that she's this helicopter mother and her cancer is dragging them both down because he's so reliant on her.
Yeah. And it forces the family to make like
Difficult
some hard
decisions.
decisions and confront her mortality. And Nathan is going to put her down essentially, and then he can't do it.
And he reaches down and kisses her, and there's weird strands of colored goo.
Yep. Gives her a gooey kiss.
And it's almost like, because he goes out and he kills those alpacas, which he is practically worshipped in this movie.
Right.
And he goes out and kills all the alpacas, and he's covered in purple blood.
Yeah.
And, it's like, this is where he gets really infected, I think. Like, I think one of the things that, like, prevents him from killing Teresa is because the color is controlling him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go find some help. We're gonna be okay, baby. Like, we're gonna go travel. Like, the color wants to get out. And I parse that as like this idea of like change is contagious. And we have to make difficult decisions, but our emotional binds with others can impact the pragmatic or analytical decisions from being made. Because like in all intents and purposes, like they need to put her down because like she's just in pain at this point. Like it's a mercy at this point.
Yeah, and having seen what the color has done to other living things.
Right, to the alpaca. Like we see what it did to the alpacas.
Yeah.
And so we're thinking, okay, well, like clearly this is the fate of Jack and Teresa. They're going to turn into monsters or a monster or something, right? Like how the alpaca basically turned into like this, like 5 alpacas all merged together into this big amorphous blob with goat-like eyes and like weird shit. Just normally this is what shaved alpacas look like.
Right. Like embryonic almost.
But his love for his wife in and of itself is something that compels him to spare her when maybe he shouldn't. So there is something to say about how transformation can make someone so unrecognizable, but we can't do what we need to do to let them go.
Yeah.
Like, more to the theme of trauma in this movie is coming around to the idea that like we linger on others and we can't let them, an inability to let people go. Yeah. Like Ward can't let Lavinia go until he realizes that he can't save her, and he's like, well, I'll come back for you. But then his ability to like get away from her is what spares him.
Yeah.
And then Nathan's inability to let go of Teresa and Jack is what ultimately is his downfall. He's already been infected by the color. In some ways, maybe he's already fucked. But right. In a way, though, like maybe he could have survived whatever was happening to him if he had managed to detach.
Yeah.
Again, as true to Lovecraft, the emotional detachment is the thing that lets people survive the experiences.
Yeah.
I think that's everything I have to say for the most part.
All right. So, Ari, what was one thing you liked and one thing you disliked about this movie?
I love that the color was magenta.
Okay.
Because the color this pink magenta they use is not a color that occurs in nature. It is an artificial color. So it is the closest thing that they could do to a color you can't perceive.
It's also similar to like infrared or maybe ultraviolet photography.
Yeah. And it's my favorite color. So,
there is that.
Yeah. But I just mean like in general, like I really liked, what I mean by that though is like in general, like it's the visuals of this movie are so amazing. It's like Dark Song, where it starts with like a very beautiful, pristine imagery of like the wilderness, which I'm always going to love. And then like the use of color and the slow transformation of the color palette of the movie, like they don't just change the color of things in the movie. The color grading of the movie gets more bloomed out as the movie progresses. It's very subtle. You would miss it if you weren't like looking for it. But they actually like change the way they color grade the movie towards the end. and then they go back to normal, and that's why it feels so weird in your eyes when Ward is coming up from the remnants of the house and you see all that.
Yeah.
It's because they changed the color camera grading back to normal.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because like, so as the corruption of the color happens, the movie is corrupted by it in a way that I thought was really really good. I think that's like my favorite overall part of it, you know, if I had to like pick something.
Okay.
My least favorite part, in my opinion, is like the divergence of the story amongst all the characters is very chaotic. Like Ward and Lavinia's story does not intertwine very much until the very end, and it takes a long time to get there. And it's not like I'm some person that needs to have like instant gratification or whatever. Like I can do a slow burn movie.
Yeah.
It's just that like it's kind of substanceless until it gets towards the actual like meat of things.
I agree.
Like if there was more like dialogue between characters just talking about things and like kind of just doing character studies, and we got more of that like living in the space of these characters before and then when the stuff starts going wrong. But like there's a point where they just take Teresa and Nathan out of the story to go to Arkham to put our fingers back on.
Right.
And it's like, well, why did we remove them? Because we could have had some very interesting interactions between everybody.
Yeah.
Because like that's when things really start to go wrong. Like time starts to get fucked up, and you know, I just feel like there was some missed opportunity there, and like letting there be some breathing room with the characters.
Yeah, it does feel like the script was a little bit messy.
Because like we have this scene where like Ward is chilling with his tent and he's reading a book called The Willows, and we just get like this moment where he's like being assaulted by the color, like the causing his car to turn on, causing things to get weird, and we see like the color moving in the shimmer of the fog, and I'm like, I want more of that. Like we need more of that build for like each of the characters. And it's like Nathan and Teresa get removed from the plot for the second act basically, and then they show up at the end, and then some of the really good like classic Nicolas Cage freakouts that we get.
Yeah.
But it just, the movie kind of just doesn't really utilize the canvas well. Like made a beautiful painting.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of wasted negative space on the canvas still that they could have squeezed some stuff into, because they just have these like moments of like nothing really happening and no one's really saying anything to each other. But when we do get those character moments, they're very good. Like when Lavinia and Benny are like jeering each other, it's a very like, as a person with siblings, it's a very real thing, right? Like, you know,
right.
sometimes you just flip your brother off, and like it's just like a thing that happens, you know. And I just want more of that, and I feel like there was just huge gaps to this movie where they didn't take advantage of that in a way that they should have, especially because unlike the original story, this is a very character focused movie.
Yeah, it is.
But it's a character study that doesn't study its characters.
Yeah.
All right, what about you? What's one thing you liked and one thing you didn't like?
I think this is a movie that really gets better as it goes, for the most part. And I think the ending, like they really pulled off something that was a tall order.
Yeah, the ending is phenomenal.
Yeah. But during the first half, for me, a lot of the like dialogue and maybe some of the acting felt a little subpar.
The man in the well.
Jack, he's a cute kid, but as a character actor,
the glasses they gave Jack are so like, they're like those really intense.
Yeah.
Like they make his eyes look really big. Like
yeah. They cast him to be a cute little boy. He kind of took me out of the experience at points.
Yeah, if they had just like not had like, unlike counter to my point a second ago, if they had Jack not really speak, maybe make him nonverbal, it would have like added to the creepiness where he was just like standing out there like looking at the well and just like whistling at the well.
Yeah.
And then but he's nonverbal. He'd be like nonverbal in this rewrite. So like his sister Lavinia is like, well, what's going on? And he can't, because like when he responds it kind of breaks the tension a little bit.
Yeah. Honestly, for some of it I was thinking we could maybe riff this movie. Not that it was that bad, even in that first half, but
unlike some of the other movies we've watched, this is a enjoyable movie. Like it's not boring. It's just I feel like there's a little bit of, again, back to Ari's thing that really triggers her, is a waste of potential.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah, the messy script and the kind of, I don't have a word for it. It's not exactly cheesy, but just like
kitschy, campy,
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe some campiness.
Well, and I think like the campiness was on purpose, because this is definitely going for that pulp. Like I said, I don't
think that's quite the word I'm going for, but like a kind of filmmaking that is less than adroit.
That's fair. Like what I was saying, like they really had a great, like if we're talking about like a painting, they had a really great grasp of value and color theory, but they did not utilize the canvas well.
Yeah.
Like they didn't utilize all of their tools to the most effective point that they could have.
Right.
But definitely in a more satisfying way than, say, We're All Going to the World's Fair. Like this one, like this is, if this had just had like a little bit more time in the oven, it might have come out a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're both kind of in agreement that there was some missed opportunity here for sure. But
still a good effort.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I honestly, like I this is a 4-star for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely didn't deserve to bomb.
Yeah, it's insane that it only made $1 million. I think if I remember correctly, there was a little bit of weirdness about the release, and it is a Shudder original, so it probably made more money than it says because it was a limited run.
Right.
But like, it's difficult with these kind of movies because like,
yeah.
Because like, for example, Mad God was crowdfunded.
Right.
So they
got a lot of their money ahead of time.
Yeah, whereas this movie was just made by Shudder. So it's just like one of those things where like maybe it was more successful, but they haven't made any of these other Lovecraft movies that they originally were talking about doing or hinting at. That's the thing. It's like it's always hinting at. Like, for example, the 2022 Hellraiser was very successful. People love it. But they've been talking about doing a sequel forever, but because it was a streaming only release, it's like it's all whispers. Like it's not like a major studio isn't like putting out stuff about it. It's being done behind the scenes for streaming. So it's like one of those things where it's very frustrating to find more information. But if they ever do make a new At the Mountains of Madness movie, I will be so happy, because that movie has so much potential to really be effective as a visual thing, because I think they made one a long time ago, but it's not very like it's very old. But still same difference. But effectively, I liked this movie. I like Lovecraft for his legacy, not so much like how the grandfather in this movie is utilized. He is
abusive, but we can appreciate
the materials he's left behind, the dark materials that he's left behind to be crafted by less hateful hands.
Yeah. This has been Emissaries from the Void with Ari Stell Hawthorne and myself, Tristan Bowersox. New episodes will be released every other week with short bonus content we're calling liminals in the off weeks. The intro music is Now I Hear Little Dreams by Captive Portal, and the outro music is Arcadia by White Bat Audio. You can find us on Blue Sky at Void Emissaries, and remember that's single M double S. You can find Ari as Obscurity on most platforms, and me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd as TB McQueen. The latter is where you will find our watch list and suggest movies you'd like to hear us dissect. You can also email us at emissariesfromthevoid@outlook.com to give feedback, alternate takes on the movies we've discussed, questions, suggestions, etc. Emissaries from the Void is a Void Opal podcast produced by TB McQueen Creative. For something completely different, listen to my other podcast, Fan Fiction Theater.